Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another live broadcast of the
Hey,
Anime4All.
hey, hey, and welcome back, everybody. It's Game Hunter 09's Anime for All Season 3 stream, featuring episodes 7 and 8 of Dragon Prince, also known in this case as Mystery of Aravos. I'm here with Game Hunter 09. This is Spear and Magic Helmet. And take it away, Game Hunter.
I swear that can be heard. We've peaked. I swear that can be heard. We've peaked. I'm gonna listen back to that too just to make sure. We're here for, as you said before, as Spear said, we're here to review episodes 7 and 8 of Dragon Prince. Before we actually move on this, I actually want to use this point because apparently we have people watching. Last week, I think it was Thursday, Nintendo had a direct. Yes, I'm using this point in time to say this, but no place better but to say it here. Last week, Nintendo released a direct with some games. A lot of it was remakes, but there's one remake I want to bring attention to. One remake, period. For the longest time, this is gonna take long. For the longest time, the Paper Mario series has been neglected and treated completely unfairly. We have a chance to actually band together in the community of the Paper Mario fandom, and anybody new who doesn't know anything about that Paper Mario series. They revealed that they were remaking Thousand Year Door, a GameCube game that has been locked to that system for a long time. And it's so bad that apparently to get a copy of that game, you have to nearly spend your life savings and probably a firstborn child. So they announced they're remaking the game the drop next year in 2024 of whatever month they decide to choose to drop it. I'm using this as an opportunity to say, buy it, please. Buy it either digitally or buy it physically. Let your friends know that this game exists because there are people out there. I don't really believe this. I'm probably the more pessimistic of all the fans out there. But a lot of people believe that if we could show Nintendo this is the type of game we want for the series of Paper Mario, they might go back to the direction of the RPG that we all wanted. Since they went a new direction with Sticker Star. I for one will be picking this thing up digitally day one. Just to show support, because I have been actually wanting to replay this game. I played it one other time in my life, and I've actually just been difficult to try to go back to it because the game is so expensive. I guess that's all I want to say on that subject, that when the game comes out, please buy it, and I will probably in the future use this podium, I guess, place of podcasting to, I guess, broadcast my opinions again. I use this as an opportunity because I see there are people are viewing. I don't understand how long they're viewing, but I'm placing it here, hoping that this at least catches their attention before they click off the podcast for any other reason. Please buy this game, and I will actually remind you, probably repeatedly in the incoming months, probably starting next year. But okay, endorsement over. I guess with that, we will actually talk about episodes 7 and 8 of Dragon Prince. I kept on meaning I should go back and actually watch it. I've been really bad about that today. But
Went back and rewatched it the entire time you were doing your promo of the Paper Mario thing. It took so long that I watched both episodes twice.
There's no way. I only spent like 15 minutes, possibly, maybe.
I feel like I spent the rest of my life listening to you talk about Paper Mario.
I'm sorry for you. Again, I swear if that gets picked up, we have peaked again. No one's gonna know what's going on, and I that's how I want it.
It's like when I was waiting for you to start the podcast, I felt like I spent my entire life waiting on Paul.
Okay, you said episodes. Episode 7. Episode 7. You want to start?
I already started with you a long time ago.
Jeez. You know,
You
that's
just want
that is so much the truth. People do not know what goes beyond the scenes. If only I record that stuff, but I don't. Maybe one day I'll record it when Jock doesn't know I'm doing it.
Oh no.
That's probably an invasion of privacy. I probably won't do that, but
I don't know. All I'm picturing is lynch mob if people found out the kind of things I say when we're not on podcast.
You know what? Don't broadcast it like that. You will cause a lynch mob. Episode 7 of Dragon Prince season 5. It's called Sea Legs.
Yarr.
This is another episode I actually want to just preface this, like, at least in my opinion, this episode really just broadcasts how much Callum has actually learned magic. Because this entire episode, he actually uses quite a bit of it. Far more than I think I've ever seen him use up to date. Now, granted, a lot of it is just like sky magic, but still, it's still more magic than he's used up to this point by just learning sky magic. And actually, by the end of the episode 8, learns a different type of magic by the end of it, which is to be expected, but still.
Dark magic? No, you already knew that.
No, the other magic. Ocean
Fire
magic.
Oh. One on the episode.
We start episode 7. I'm gonna keep trucking. That's all I'm gonna do.
You're very brave.
I have to be. You here? Oh. Hold up. Let me see legs. I guess we're getting this bounce between subjects here. See guards, see flippers. Oh yeah, I guess like in very beginning of this episode we see let me just
It's a not action scene where they're talking about like what, making hot dogs or something? No, sausage, egg, and cheese muffins.
Are you hungry? What's happening here?
That's what he starts out with.
Skip recap. I just want
to. If you read it in the subtitles, and then I had a revelation. Put an egg on the muffin, and then the fire elf goes, with the sausage.
I don't know why something about that doesn't sound right out of context.
Well, maybe not, but that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the guy who invented sausage, egg, and cheese.
Ezra wakes up from a nap. What the heck are you talking?
So sausage, egg, maybe not cheese, but sausage, egg muffins. And he's saying he's like, I had a revelation, put it on that. So it's like they're slowly like inventing modern food in this world. Like they invented coffee in a previous episode. And what was the other one they invented? Donuts or something? So like little by little, they're inventing all the modern day foods. That's what happens when you combine fire elves with people. You start getting like Dunkin' Donuts.
That's where I'm actually trying to look at this and you talk about this, and I'm hearing none of what you're saying.
What?
I don't know where. I don't. Is this episode 8 this happens, or is it episode 9 that I haven't watched yet?
7. At the beginning of episode 7, just about. Around like 4:07.
Oh, they did name that toad. I was wondering if they named that toad or not.
Yeah, I have all the names for the 3 toads. Sneasel's, Hat, and Jellybug.
Oh, great. Oh, no. How did I miss that?
What, the conversation about the...
yes, apparently I must have glossed over it.
Yeah, basically you get Dunkin' Donuts when you combine humans and fire elves.
The very beginning of the episode, we have Ezra wake up and he is looking at the baby toads that apparently don't have names. And over the course of this, I think as either this episode or 2 episodes, we get names for all the toads. Apparently Sneasels is one of the names that I completely glossed over. What?
There's such arbitrary names. You sneeze, therefore your name will be Sneasels because you sneezed
I
once.
mean, bait,
Or
such an arbitrary name. Literally
Bait
just
is Bait is pretty fitting. Bait is pretty much rolling the entire show all the way through.
yeah, but it's such a really weird, just very obvious name. It doesn't really matter if he's named Bait. I mean, literally, they kind of just lay into his name in this season anyway. Like, really lay into his name. I mean, they literally put him on a fishing pole later and hang him out to dry over like over the water for Leviathans, who apparently eat those toads. So I'm also very confused about where these toads live when they're not pets.
It's like there's a sea leviathan following every boat on the off chance that a bait will pop out. Because they don't fish and like sit there for hours with bait on a line or something like that. They drop them in the water and like instantaneously.
Also, the Leviathans don't seem to have an interest in eating humans. That's another thing too. Is like they have very little interest in doing that. But after the naming of the first toad, we pop over to, I guess it's the sun area? Yeah, the sun, I almost want to call it sun continent. The sun area, and we had that conversation with the bacon, egg and cheese. I hate that. I hate that he put that in there. It's getting ridiculous now, because like first we had like the jellyfield tart thing earlier on. It's basically almost a donut, and then I think they even have donuts later on in the freaking season. It's like, why are we putting like real life food in here now? It's like, I mean, it's not that bad or a problem, but it's just like I'm watching a show, and apparently stuff that we normally have every day is just like suddenly popping up because the baker is like having a good day in the oven, in the kitchen.
The bakery's having a good day in the oven in the kitchen.
Essentially, come back to these guards, and then they see footprints, on the ground, because they're guarding the seed that the queen is aware of and guarding. I think that is that seed supposed to be like? Didn't she say that apparently? I guess it's supposed to grow into a tree at some point or something, or like it means something to their country. Yeah, the sunseed?
Yeah, it grows into a giant tree. Which I'm not sure exactly what the tree. I think they talked about it, but I can't remember exactly.
So it's important enough that
what the tree does. It's an important still like. It's an important symbol at least,
yep.
but I think it represented much more, and now it's really driving me crazy that I can't remember.
Actually, I need to put that gain back on you just in case. No one said anything, but I don't think anybody's here to gauge your voice against mine. Okay, people can still hear you because I can see your voice triggering the voice meter. Yeah, apparently the sunseed is important enough that her brother has somebody come and steal it. Apparently sometime before that, the queen gets a tip that something's going on. Like, things are disappearing is basically, I think, is what I understand. These actually kind of bounce back and forth between this kingdom and the boat, don't they? Yeah, they actually bounce back quite a bit.
I'm trying to see if I can find out why the sunseed was important.
Let me just scan really quick to see events of what's happening. Yep. Basically the queen gets a tip that something's going on. It might be Amaya's assistant that tells her or warns her. Just gotta check with.
I can't.
Oh no, that's what it is. I forgot that wait, was it Amaya that was kidnapped? No, Amaya wasn't kidnapped. That's what it is. That's weird though. I thought the kidnapping happened already. I must be remembering events in a weird way all of a sudden. But her brother's wife walks into her room. What was the exact word here?
Sorry, I'm not going to be able to quickly figure out what the sunseed does besides make a tree. It's supposed to. I remember she said it was symbolic because it took a long time to make that.
I think
Like it would
something
take a
was
long
of the
time.
hope of the country. I think is what she's one of.
Yeah, but why else? Like what? So why does it bring hope? Is it just a symbol of the country, or does it have something
I think it's
more?
supposed to do something. I remember she's saying that when it does grow or whatever, it's supposed to do something. This is what I thought. I thought I don't really remember. I mean, you're a better judgment of that kind of thing because I don't really remember. If you don't remember, maybe they'll have it come back when if it's ever really truly important for anything later.
Mhm.
So within this series, like everything's important at some point.
Even bait.
Oh, that's what it is. What? Basically, the prince is the queen's brother's wife. Really complicated way to say that. Walks into the queen's bedroom. I think it is her name is Janai. I think that's what it is.
Which queen? What, the queen? Janai.
Yeah, Queen Janai is the queen that's supposed to marry Amaya. Amaya's brother's wife walks in, reports what's going on outside, I guess within the camps, or reports that something's going on. Like apparently there's some things missing, like almost like a ghost came in. Apparently, just from that statement alone, Janai picked up that something's going on, and I guess she somehow figured it was in conjunction with the seed. Somehow, I don't know how she figured that out, but I guess she must know her brother better than I thought she did. That's the
Are
only
you
thing.
talking about? Are you talking about the guard that she trusts with anything, and then like ultimately trusts with the sunseed?
I mean, the one she tells her she needs help with something. I guess yeah, that's her brother's wife. I actually remember that she that was the one that the prince was married to.
Oh, okay.
That's really her importance that I remember. She's married to that guy. Because that's
Yeah.
why later on, when the kidnapping happened, when they were trying to trade, he was expecting his wife to show up. When it wasn't her, he was very disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Isn't her name's not Miana then, right? Myana.
Hmm?
Her name is not Miana.
Miana, I
I
don't.
think that's her name.
Miana is her name? Did he actually say that?
I think so. Myana.
What- Wait,
I'm trying to not be the one with
I know.
terrible memory of
Miana. Okay, yeah, I got it. Sorry, I don't know how I skipped over that. I was trying to get all the information and completely glossed over her name.
That's all right.
Yeah, she trusts me. She tries to trust Miana. It's really weird how Miana's married to her brother, whose name also completely escapes me, even though it's here. Kareem. It's really weird that Miana's married to Kareem, but she still has allegiance to the kingdom. I find that interesting that her husband's been like ostracized, and she seems to be completely fine with it.
Yeah, she has absolute loyalty. And Janae seems to know that she's absolutely loyal too because she trusts her with the sunseed. If she couldn't have trusted her with the sunseed, it would have all been over.
I mean, that's true. I just find it
But again,
interesting
I
that
don't really,
she hasn't turned against them because you think that the wife would be loyal to the husband. But I guess in this case, that doesn't necessarily need to be a thing.
but again, I'm frustrated that I don't know the exact significance of the sunseed except as a symbol of hope because I feel like it lowers the stakes. Like all these people are dying for this, and
I
it's
mean,
and good that it's a symbol of
Maybe
hope.
I
But
can
like,
look without actually spoiling anything.
I'm afraid to spoil something if I look.
Yeah. I'm trying. I see the sun, but I really don't want to click on that wiki right now, just in case.
I know.
I'm gonna do
So,
it. I'll take the hit if I see anything. I won't say anything. I'll just look for something specific.
you're much more willing to have something spoiled than I am.
I try to fight, but like, oh shoot, what the heck? I hate all these advertisements. That's weird actually. It's mostly talking about the sunfire, some. That's me trying to actually not say anything. That's weird because the seed doesn't seem to have anything specific to it. I thought it was important. I could have sworn she said, and I know I'm not crazy because you believe the same thing, that it was important for something. When you type in sunseed, you don't get anything specific to it.
Yeah, like I said, it's almost like it's not important.
Which is weird because why is Kareem after it?
The sunseed, it makes sense that it must have magical powers and be a spell
I
component for
mean,
what seems like dark magic, this blood magic that they're using. But other than that, what's its initial purpose that makes it so valuable that nobody would ever give it up? Other than
how
it being like
about
an important
purpose?
spell component, Like the horn of a unicorn is an important spell component too, but the unicorn uses it for something else.
I really don't know. It's not giving anything. But what's interesting is that if I type in the sun seed, we get the sun and it's involved with their magic. The least spoily thing I could see here, and I don't know why, like maybe this is important, maybe we don't remember something very important about what was said about it. This is like the great orb was bestowed upon the elves by the sun itself. It's possible the great orb must be referring to that seed. Maybe it's not even a seed. Maybe they just refer to it as a seed. Wait, it actually started out as a sun seed that was nurtured by. Wait, can I actually get this without spoiling anything? I'm gonna let page update. Maybe it'll just bring me to it. Nope. Spend so much time on this one part. Magic draw. That's not what it was. Source is strongest when the sun is highest at noon, where it is light. Okay, I'm not getting anything that I want to know right now. I mean, some of this is already kind of logical. Oh, that's intriguing. I didn't know sun
What?
magic had the ability to heal. I don't think they even bring that up, that you can heal with it. I guess you can heal with any type of magic if you really think about it.
Well, and the Avatar was life magic.
So like, I guess it doesn't. I swear I saw something on the Google page, and I can't seem to find it directly inside the wiki that I'm looking at right now. Like haven't seen anything that's actually spoilery, but I'm not gonna say anything at risk. Yeah, I don't. Those are spells. Whatever the heck I was looking for is definitely not here, even though I clicked on it.
Why did you come here looking for the sunseed? Did my brother send you? Ah. Epic battle.
Okay, whatever. I guess if it's important, they'll bring it back up again, and we'll get our information we need. But basically, Kareem sends in the Blood Elf in the last episode to go and steal the Sunseed. She makes it to. By the way, this episode is probably some of the most, I guess, dark, quote unquote, the show's gotten, where it seems like people are dying or just being knocked out permanently.
Yeah.
Because like the elf uses her blood magic, which by the way is probably the most visual I've ever seen magic in the series so far as well. Blood magic looks kind of cool, but also looks kind of dark. And when she uses it, she has to drink from her pendant, and essentially just turns into a mist. Is what I got from it. And essentially, in this mist form, she's not tangible, but she's able to kill you. She's able to attack you from it, and it pretty much destroy it. Like this knocks out all the guards that are trying to prevent her from getting to the Sunseed area where the queen is. They close the door on her, but trap themselves in with the with the elf, and the person knocks them all out. And then she ends up like going underneath the door. Like I was.
They're like, we have her trapped in here with us, and she's like, no, you're trapped in here with me.
That's just honestly too true. But she goes underneath the door and then comes back up, and she meets the queen, and she's pretty, like as Jock just literally quoted earlier, like, why are you here after the Sunseed? Did my brother send you? And again, she's silent for the entirety of the episode. I think she speaks maybe one time this episode, I think. Maybe a couple times actually. Cause I don't know, like this episode when she has confrontation with Amaya? Or is that next episode?
Next episode.
Okay. But it's like I don't think then
Amaya's not back yet. Amaya's still coming back from that place where they hid in the book deposit.
But does Amaya come back at the end of the episode then? When everything's gone down?
Yeah. She comes back.
Okay.
She comes back at the end and she realizes what's happened and that her wife has been kidnapped and
I guess to back up and put these order in events. Pretty much the elf just nukes everybody, goes underneath the door, and like after realizes what the elf goes underneath the door, confronts the queen. They have their fight, and it's clear that
Janai does really well, by the way.
Huh?
Janai does really well in that fight, by the way. Considering how she was destroying everybody else, Janai like very much held her own.
I guess that's true. I mean, the elf still managed to restrain her. I still stand by that whole statement that there must be a derivative of like.
The elves were able to restrain who?
He was able to restrain Janai. I think after a while, like she manages to find a way to get her to stop fighting.
Who are you?
I mean, she kidnapped the blood elf kidnaps her.
Yes. Janai is the one restrained, though.
As I was saying, Janai gets restrained by the blood elf.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. But she did a really good job, like fighting her compared to given like that she just fought her way through like a whole regiment of the other ones. I thought she did a pretty impressive job, like holding her own again in that fight. It was really like her fight until, it was really her fight until the guard crawled out and said that she drank and then they didn't say drank my blood because it's a cartoon. But
wasn't that guard was that the guard that locked himself inside there with that elf? Actually, now thinking about it,
I thought he was the one that was trying to get out, like that just lost his cool and like was trying to get out at the end, and then it was kind of trapped in there, and she took advantage of the opportunity.
It could be. Did you think it was weird that for whatever reason, at least I think, I can't be for sure, but the sword that she was using to fight, like was she able to cut through it before? Like, it seemed like it sort of seemed to be really durable against the blood elf's blood claws, but there's a point there when Janai was like on the ground, the sword was cut through.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think that was kind of weird?
Um, yeah, actually, now that you mention it, it
I
was
mean,
very weird.
maybe it could
I
just be she
didn't-
wasn't trying to cut the sword, I guess, but it just seemed like the sword seemed a bit fragile that one time when she was on the ground.
Maybe she was just able to finally get a like really focused shot. Wait, was this when she wasn't glowing again though? Because when
Does
she
it really
lost,
matter if she was glowing? Did the glowing affect the sword?
it seemed like she became more powerful in general when she started glowing. Because the fight didn't go in her way, and then it started going in like it started going her way once she started glowing. That seemed to be the turning point. And then when she was lifted up in the air and she stopped glowing, that was almost like she like lost Super Saiyan.
I'm just looking at the fight prior to her glowing. When they're having their clash, Janai's using the sword to fight her with the claws. Like she's blocking. Well, I
Right.
guess the girl's blocking the sword with her claws. So I guess maybe
But she wasn't glowing by the time the sword got broken, was she?
no, she wasn't glowing beforehand either. When
When
with the
she
sword
wasn't
claw.
glowing beforehand, there was some light shots, but then she was on the ground going kind of all out to protect herself. And then that's when yeah, because she goes down to stab her, and then she's distracted, and then she's caught and teleported up in the air and dropped down on her face. And then when she's brought back up, like she's laying on the ground, and she has like the chance. Oh no, she's still glowing. I guess she just took a really good shot at it then, but like yeah, that doesn't feel super consistent.
I'm only gonna go with
She,
maybe she wasn't trying to cut the sword because I mean when Janai is holding it when she's on the ground as she's glowing, uh, she's like blocking with the sword and that's when it breaks.
I wouldn't have been incredibly surprised by it breaking, but the fact that it broke when the fact that it broke when it did is the just slightly disappointing part. Like
I honestly wish
that
that
it broke,
didn't break.
that it broke.
I'd rather her have like knocked the sword out of her hand if I'm being honest, because at least that would have been more like like a sword can't save you versus sword breaking. Because now when Janai is healed, I don't know what they're gonna do about her weapon wise. She doesn't seem to rely on magic like her brother did, so I don't know if she's capable of it or not.
Yeah, but the sword seemed to have some sort of magic to it. It at least had like an innate power, but it seemed like it had some little bit of magic to it as well.
But I mean, I guess it's probably magic in the sword, but I don't think she could cast magic. I could be wrong, but either way, she didn't depend on it like her brother did. Even though there was magic in the sword, she's using her brute strength for the most part. She pretty much loses the fight after being like after the fight happens and she takes her into the sky and it slams her into the ground like a wrestling move. The blood elf ends up going to the tree where apparently the sun seed was supposed to be and is no longer now with a lantern in place, which I thought was kind of funny. Where she gets very upset about like the elf that came here to steal, gets really upset and threatens to I guess kill Janai. But then she's like, if you kill me now, you won't be able to, you won't get your hands on the sun seed. Then pretty much she pretty much goes into, well yeah, after this happens, she hears the guards coming towards like the throne, and pretty much uses her blood magic to take the queen with her in a blood cloud. Which is what I'm gonna call that because I think that is blood magic. As far as I know, that is blood magic.
It's absolutely blood magic. I think she got a power up. She drank some of the blood that she brought with us, which I assume is some sort of special blood. And then she drinks the blood of the guard, which I don't know how valuable that blood is compared to other blood for her, but it seemed fairly powerful for her at the time because she comes back in there. But Janai is such a good fighter, I think, that like she just can barely hold her own against it. And then she's about to lose, save for the fact that the guard distracts her. When the guard distracts her, then she loses the upper hand in what was a pretty close fight anyway.
I mean, I'm gonna say I don't think the blood is special. I just think that the blood just allows her to use her magic.
The blood she brought with her in the first place, if it could be special, then she made sure it was special. Let's face it. Like, why would she bring? If she could bring blood that was more important than regular, why wouldn't she?
I mean, I can't argue that maybe it's special, but at the same time, it's just like I can't really, argue that away because like if she's using needed blood, she could just drink the blood. I guess you could also say this show is not like rated R, so they couldn't just have her drinking the blood off of somebody.
Well, not on screen anyway.
I don't even think they can get away with that off screen, if I'm being honest.
She definitely drank that guard's blood because he said she drank my. What do you think she's going to say? Like prune juice?
I don't know.
I had a nice cup of prune juice in the room, and she drank it right in front of me before she tried to kill me.
What is the rating on this show? Actually, I want to know. What is it? I think this is gonna solve anything. I just need to know. Now that that's actually kind of been brought up, it's like, huh? What is this show? Like, what is like this? I gotta say the show's really doing well in the ratings, though. Like, I mean, 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb, 100% on the Rotten Tomatoes, scoring pretty high.
It's a good show. It's a solid show. I'm really curious what they're going to do for the ending now. I feel like it's going to be really hard to not bring something out in the end. Like, I don't know what they expect to do in the ending. Let me put it that way, because like we've got the one episode left.
Huh. I see 5+. That's weird. The Dragon Race really wouldn't change to TV14? Huh. They could get away with drinking blood off camera.
Huh. What else did you think it was, dude?
No, but I mean, I know she was drinking blood from her amulet, but I thought that was the only thing that was powering her magic was the blood she brought with her.
Said she drank my.
What number? I mean, what time code? Need to listen.
I have to find it. I'll try to find it quickly for you. It's 1834.
That was quick.
I actually had written it down. It wasn't coffee.
I'm not saying I haven't. I'm waiting.
She drank all my coffee. She let me keep the sausage and egg biscuit, but she drank my coffee. That's why she's all fired up now, because she's caffeinated. That's got to be it. That's the only. Why would they bring up the beverage coffee in the previous episode unless she had drank his coffee? It's definitely not blood. It can't possibly be blood. She's just on caffeine.
I'm not denying she's drinking blood. I just didn't remember hearing that apparently she drank their blood.
So she drank off screen.
I don't remember was there any blood shown at all, like when she was fighting the guards? I don't remember that either.
No, there's not blood. It's not Dragon Ball like original cut. As a matter of fact, a lot of the guards.
Oh, she drank mine. She did something to me.
Yeah, a lot of the guards didn't even seem like they were like killed. Like there was a lot of survivors afterwards too.
Well, that's weird. He suddenly ended up on the ground, even though like we didn't see him drop. literally went from she drank my and then she got thrown in the air onto the ground, but we see right before she lands that the guard over there is on face down on the ground. We didn't see him drop before that happened. Not that it matters, but it's just such a random transition.
Yeah, they kind of just drop him after that. Like they forget that he was even there.
I mean, not that it matters, but it's such a really weird. Like, I would have appreciated seeing him drop, so at least that way it wasn't such a random, disconnected scene. Granted, we were more focused on the fight than him, but it's so random that he's on the ground in the next scene, even though we didn't see him drop. He was already on the ground, so I guess they thought they could get away. Which I mean, that is not that egregious of a thing, but it just seems so random. Okay. I didn't know she took.
It's also just kind of weird because, like, what did she do to him? Like, other than make him feel
Well, I mean,
weak
yeah, he was holding onto his neck, so it's possible that she just slit his neck a little bit, got some blood in her amulet.
But he made it sound like she did something mystical to him. You know what I mean? Like, not just a normal something, but like cursed him or changed him somehow or something like that. But he's just like, she did something to me, and nobody ever wonders what she did. You know, you don't get to see like a follow-up thing where like.
Well, I'm gonna look at the scene where she's using her blood vines real quick. Jeez. Also looks like her magic is making her glow, but I could be wrong. That might just be the lighting. Holy cow. Huh. Well, that's interesting. At least from that scene, she's knocking everybody out as the guard's trying to get out. He looks back and we see in his eyes her coming up on him. But that's about it before we cut out from there. There's like a little bit of a slithery sound, almost like she was in her like mist form or whatever. So I don't like. It's possible that she definitely did something. But she's dragging somebody with her. And she's getting to the tree. And drops him. He must be dead by this point. That's interesting that she drags him out, so she definitely did something to somebody in there. Multiple somebodies, actually.
It makes the most sense that she did it to the guy at the end when, like, the one that was trying to get out, when she could just take her time and not be worried about like, people attacking her.
I guess another thing too, it must speak to the volumes that she needs the blood because she did it right before she did her attack, and she doesn't seem to do it again, at least visibly, that we can see. There's like a time limit, I guess, after she drinks that blood.
The blood magic does seem to run out fairly quickly. It looked like she'd kind of exhausted herself towards the end when she took her prisoner.
But she gets Janai and disappears, and the blood magic poof. Actually,
and you see her not very interested in fighting Amaya either. Later in the next episode, like she's not so confident after fighting Janai that she can beat.
But she just wants freedom.
I know, but she's like not taking on anybody that she doesn't have to. Probably not because she values life or anything like that, but my guess is that she wasn't so eager to take her on after fighting Janai. You know what I mean? Because Amaya was considered her equal. Janai's equal in the fight.
I mean, yeah, there's maybe some reason why she's definitely not engaging everybody. Now, she was really willing to kill those guards. But, yeah, maybe she doesn't see the point in fighting certain people. I mean, clearly she's intelligent. And she really just cares about the blood promise or whatever that her, and that she's on her clan, because she's like a descendant of the others, at least of the one that of the one that I guess of her ancestor that was involved. I don't know, like it sounds like she isn't the actual elf that was underneath the that the blood promise was made with. She's just a descendant of them, and so are like the current leaders and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there were two fights that happened in this episode, and we'll talk talk about that one and then move on to the next episode because it kind of bleeds into that one. Essentially, Callum and the gang are on the boat sailing, trying to make it to their destination, which I completely forgot. Let me just look that up real quick. See the Outcast? That's where they're going.
Yeah.
I make it to this.
I believe that's it.
I'll make it to the Sea of the Outcast, and we have typical Callum fare. Callum shows off, ends up blowing Sea
of the Cast out.
Sea of the Cast out. Okay.
Close to Outcast.
Close. Okay. Callum blows Soren off the boat into the water. We happen to see, or did that already happen before?
We're backtracking to follow a different story thread now.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to make sure if like Soren being in the water didn't already happen before. Oh, that's right. No, this is interesting. I guess before they're talking about magic on the ship, and then like the sky wing elf or whatever, the elf that we met before, with the one with the wings on her. She's pretty much saying that she's seen humans do. Huh?
I've been calling her a harpy.
I can go with that. The harpy. She's making fun of humans apparently because she's seeing humans do magic, and it's kind of funny that like apparently like the magic that we know of exists in this world. the subterfuge and the things you don't see,
hand and stuff like that. Yeah,
it's like the Houdini magic exists here, and I thought that was kind of funny. It's like, oh dear, this is kind of weird. I didn't expect them to include Houdini magic in here, but that's kind of cool. That kind of gets underneath Soren's skin. Not Soren, but Callum's skin, because he's saying, I can do real magic. I managed to blow wind and stuff like that. And then,
I don't know why I have to say that. But
I don't know why he did that either. But pretty much she is apparently not amused or doesn't believe him or whatever. This causes him to do at least like the gust out of his mouth move, and I guess that knocks Soren and his little toad friend off into the water.
Caused a lot of trouble, really.
And then where's a Leviathan, which apparently like to eat these toads, which we already learned because of the ocean elf from earlier. And apparently they're really delicious. Like, I don't know how these guys survive, if I'm being honest, because like they get eaten by a lot of things. Apparently, like a lot of things in this world like eating them.
And they're almost completely defenseless, except that they can glow.
Which isn't really much of a defense anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay if it blinds you for a second. You can get away, but they're not very fast, so I don't know.
Like, I mean, these guys, like, I don't, like, they gotta be endangered by this point, right? We've only seen, like, 4 of them.
That's why they're so valuable.
I don't know where these things grow up. Like, where do these things get born? Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, if they're essentially like prey, they are literally the prey animal. Like, they, things prey on them. They don't have anything that they prey on that we've seen. I don't know how these things grow up to be a full adult.
They prey on jelly rolls.
But those really aren't animals.
How do you know? Maybe there's a wild jelly roll out there that they based it on.
That's fair. There's a wild jelly roll. I will be done with this show. It'd be the most ridiculous thing they've ever done in this series. There's a living jelly roll out there.
Jelly rolls roaming the pastures.
Oh dear, no! Please don't. If you're watching these guys, don't put that in your show. I love it. It made me funny for the first 5 seconds. You're gonna lose a lot of fans quickly. I'm trying to do you a favor. But eventually they fall into the water, and then the Sea Leviathan starts swirling around. Jock Prince's notes that it's kind of funny. I guess I didn't even catch on to this. Soren says, "If you meet my sister, tell her hi." That speaks a lot about their relationship.
Soren, it also speaks a lot about Soren lately. Like Soren has been very much a peacemaker and like an agent of love lately. He's been finding himself rescuing dragons. You know what I mean? Being the one to like put himself up against Elmer later on, and things like that. Like he's really like finding himself lately, and like it's kind of like a pretense to that. I think more than anything. You don't
I mean,
think
his
so?
development as a character has been really amazing.
Yeah, but I almost think that's part of the development. Like he's forgiven Claudia and he wants peace with her, you know, and things like that. Like I think he's showing that like he's ready to be in a forgiving situation with her should he come across her.
I think he's always been like that. I mean, he's been trying to save her for the last couple of like episodes. And she's been
Soren's dead. Oh no, he's dead. What was his last words? Told us to say hi to you. Oh, okay. I guess I shouldn't be evil anymore.
After Soren then gets the little baby Toad, I think actually in this moment too, they actually named this one, and I forgot the name actually. Because
Which Toad?
the one that Soren ends up diving into the water to save.
Hat.
But doesn't Ezra name him something instead that's better?
No, they name him Hat.
Okay, that's disappointing.
Because it was on the guy's head when we found when like he came up.
Okay. I mean, yeah, his name is Hat. This is just more merchandise.
I know, that's all I could think of is like this is the most merchandise thing I've ever seen since Baby Yoda.
The second one is named Hat, and I like how proud these little guys are of their names after they get a name.
It's like
At least I can understand Sneasels. That was kind of cute, but
I like Jellybug though. Jellybug is a pretty Ezra name.
I mean, we'll get to Jellybug in a minute, actually. After they save Hat, which is his official name. Dang it. I swear. Okay. Why can't I name him Fedora or something? Name him like a cool hat. But whatever.
Fedora.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to think of a name. It's like if they want to go for a hat. Name him a cool hat. Like, why do you gotta be just Hat? Whatever.
Fez. I could name him Fez.
I would have liked Fez. But after they save, you know, we're just gonna call him Fez in this podcast. That's his official name.
And Fez.
Want to make that a movement? Change Hat to Fez. That's worse. That's worse heels to die on. After you save Hat,
Hills to die on than that. You could be talking about Paper Mario, for example.
You know what? People love that series. I don't care what. But moving on. After they save Hat, first the Harpy lady says that, well, the Sea of Leviathan's gone, but we now got a bigger problem. And it's the ship from the ocean captain that they stole those little baby toads from. Kind of funny that he's going out of his way to, because he's, you know, I guess he's a pirate, and you don't normally steal from pirates unless you plan to stop them from chasing you. This is like one of those lessons of you don't need to steal from people that you don't intend to see again.
Well, he also wants his extremely valuable things back. He was willing to trade it for like a ship at one point. And then like he was willing to trade like almost anything for one of those, and then like he said, and now they have the one that he wants, plus they have his three. And plus they ticked him off. There's like a lot of reasons that this is you know what I mean? There's a lot of reasons that he's going after them at that point.
Well, I mean, Finnegan, which is his name here, he's a pirate, and you don't normally steal from pirates because they typically come back. So it's like, I guess this is one of those interesting things that they decided to use. Again, really cool design on this guy. I will probably continue to talk about these types of elves designs. We need more designs like them. But essentially he starts chasing after them, and the captain, I guess what's his name? I'm gonna call him Patchy. That's not his name, right?
Patchy?
The guy with the eye patch. That's not his name, right? Well, he has
No,
actually.
not at all.
What is his name?
That one I didn't write down.
Dang it!
Sorry.
What are you good for, man? Dang it! Well, I'm
I
gonna
don't know
call.
if he has
I'm gonna call him Patch apparently because I didn't expect myself to need to actually refer to him by his name, but his ship that apparently is the Harpy ship because they lost.
Oh, wait. I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Is it what Villas? Or Villas? That's the patch-eyed one.
His ship that apparently isn't his ship because it belongs to the Harpy and that's her ship. I don't know. Like they argue about this ownership thing the entire episode. Essentially they're steering the ship to get away from him because he knows the ship, he knows the route better, I'm guessing, and he decides to drive it like into like I guess like a rocky area in the ocean. I mean, he believes the ship can maneuver through it really well, which actually surprisingly it does. It maneuvers really well actually, which is kind of shocking considering that he's kind of quote unquote blind. But
I mean, that's the whole joke, though, isn't it?
huh?
The whole joke is that he's blind and that he's like the best navigator in the world.
If that was Jug, I really didn't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense based on his character design and everything he says. Also, I want to point out, I don't think I actually talked about this before, I guess when he first got introduced. That parrot, most of the time parrots parrot like what they hear. That one's speaking on its own. I think it rarely actually repeats what it hears, but for the most part, I notice like parrot actually does like it's like actually its own character, and like I actually kind of appreciate that considering how we know annoying parrots can be. So that's kind of cool that the parrot's speaking its own words, I guess its own thoughts. Every now and then, probably uttering what it hears, but that was kind of cool.
No,
The
I
parrot,
think it's just a magic parrot.
huh?
I think it's just a magic parrot. I don't think it's like acting like a normal parrot. I think it's just a parrot that can talk mostly.
That's what I was saying. Most parrots are mostly annoying. That one's a character.
Yeah.
But with that, they start maneuvering through the rocky formation and they get out, and then I want to call him Killigan. It's not his name. Jeez, remember his name, man. It's like right here in the Finnegan. Finnegan's boat gets stuck in one of the tighter spots in the thing, and he thinks they got away, only to discover why his ship is probably the fastest of any of the ships that belong to his fleet, because that thing is a hermit crab.
Because that shit's really got its sea legs.
I thought that was kind of clever because I was not expecting that.
I wasn't expecting it either. When the ship stopped and then it started going again, I was like, oh, well, they're probably just rowing, but I didn't see any oars, so then that threw me off.
I thought it was really clever, actually. It was a giant hermit crab, which I guess makes sense considering that a lot of the theme around him is hermit crabs. I mean, just a lot of hermit crabs around in his in his office. He ends up like giving old crabs new shells, essentially. Which I didn't expect that to come back. I was like, okay, so he's a giant hermit crab.
What you're basically saying is if anyone's got crabs, it's Finnegan. I just want to be clear on what you're talking about, that's all.
You stop peeking, we're not going to be able to make it the rest of this podcast. Yeah, we probably learn later on too that he had another ship that was a hermit crab that died because of a dragon, but we'll get to that in a minute. But
it took me a little while to figure out that sound effect was applause and not you just hitting your keyboard a lot.
Dang it. Have to break the fourth wall. We don't need to be doing that. We're gonna lose our viewership, man. We gotta keep the mystery.
No. Not our viewer from Brazil.
What are that viewers are still around, actually?
I hope they are. That's like the one that gives me hope.
That's
my son's seed.
The viewer in Brazil gives you hope. That's kind of sad, actually.
As long as we can reach one person, one wonderful person in Brazil, I know that there's hope.
But essentially, actually before the hermit crab thing, we actually see Callum use magic appropriately again, and he ends up taking the wind out of the sails of the boat. That's when the hermit crab comes out. Actually, that's when I got the events mixed up. But he takes the winds out of the sails, which I thought was actually kind of an interesting use of magic.
It seems like it took a lot out of him too.
I mean, hey, it took the wind out of him. I mean, that's kind of like that's the whole point.
But like you see his reflection like in the crystal and everything else, and it's like, we know that dark magic has a cost, but that was one of the first moments where I was like, hey, I wonder if these other magics sort of have a cost as well.
I don't think they do. And I mean, well, here's my rebuttal towards that though. But it's possible that maybe there's a reason why humans are cut off from magic. But from what I can tell, at least the elves, they don't seem to give off that their magic has a cost, and yet think that they would let the human who wants to learn their magic know that. But who knows? There's still some
But
hatred between humans and
the elves
elves.
don't like, have to channel their magic with something or anything like that. They can just use it. He seems to need like a
Well,
conduit.
no, I mean, because like the ocean dude drew a sigil in the air, and that's kind of what Callum does.
And that's what Callan does, but doesn't he have to hold? The ocean dude can do it without a staff.
Well, I mean, there's like a lot of magic that Callum's able to do without the staff. I think it just takes when there's like more advanced magic, which is what I assume is what the staff was used for. When it's like
Remember when he remember when he used to have the orb and then he had to break the orb, and there was a big deal there because he was also kind of giving up his magic. And then he got a staff, and now he's kind of using the staff in the same way.
well, I mean, at the very beginning, when he was learning magic, I guess he needed. I thought because it didn't seem like he needed the staff for the very low tier blowing spell, but he needed the staff for the more high tier taking the wind out of the sails magic technique. Like I thought, like from what I can tell, this is like the more like I guess advanced the magic is, he needs the staff to channel the power. Um, I took that as like, you know, it just takes a lot out of you to use that kind of magic. I don't think it was. I could be wrong. Like I said before, something. I mean, I definitely did see him get winded. Haha.
No pun intended.
Winded from using the technique. That's something I definitely didn't notice. I just took that as like I guess the higher magic just takes a lot out of you because it uses more power. I'm guessing. But I will say, like based on all the magic we've seen him use up to this point, that's probably the most powerful one he's used. We've seen him make an air bubble to cool people off. We've seen him, you know, blow air with his mouth. Wording. But we've never seen him like take air like we've seen him use magic on himself, but we never seen him using magic on something else.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the advance and complexities of this magic, that's the only thing I can think is that he needs the staff to do that anyway. Again, because humans don't have access to magic, that's still something I'm still very suspicious about. But I mean, I guess they'll touch on that whenever we do, because they bring up Jailer, and I assume the Jailer is a human. But I mean, until otherwise stated, I'm gonna assume the Jailer was a human. But the Jailer was a magic user, so it's kind of like one of those. Where the heck did the disconnect between humans and magic come from? But whatever.
I think it's a story they're eventually going to tell, but we don't know yet.
I mean, I assume that. I'm just like taking what they're giving me and making assumptions that are pretty basic, very obvious. But I'm just saying that it's in my mind. But but yeah, I feel like, I mean, hey, he knows. Maybe you're right. Maybe he is losing something by using normal magic. But then it's like, what's the difference between dark magic and normal magic at this point? If you're losing something every time you're using it, maybe that's the point.
One of them is not. One of them doesn't require the sacrifice of innocent animals and creatures that you.
I mean, we've already talked about this off camera. I guess I better bring it up now before it gets answered. Like, I suspect. I mean, you kind of agree with me. I'm not sure how much you agree with me on this theory, and it kind of makes sense. But I'm only making this because the creators of the show, and I know how they do things. Back in Avatar, like it's because even by the end of episode 8, we see Callum kind of had the same like reaction to dark magic that Aang kind of had towards firebending at first, where he just didn't like how it felt to do firebending. He didn't like when he first learned it. He didn't like how it felt. because he was a nice guy. Airbending took peaceful thoughts of what not to do. Firebending at the time took rage. But he soon learns later on that firebending really isn't about rage. It's something that got perverted by modern day firebenders. I had to really, I guess it's not really a unique idea, but it's still an idea, and they can still do something different with it. With the whole maybe dark magic isn't exactly as evil as it appears, or maybe there's something else about it that we don't know about. But my theory is that it's possible that dark magic is just perverted light magic. And they could also go with the idea.
If that's the case, light magic could still have a cost, just like dark magic does. It's just you're sacrificing from yourself a little bit, rather than being corrupted by the sacrifice of others.
I mean, that's true, but also maybe it could also mean like maybe whatever reason like humans were actually able to use magic, and maybe this was the magic they had access to, but for whatever reason they lost like whatever. Because you brought up too that like every other magic seems to have some type of like magic source. Dark magic doesn't seem to have that. They just draw from the mana from living creatures.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that maybe, and I thought about that. He was like, that kind of makes me believe in this theory a little bit more, that it's possible that either one of two things happened. It's possible that whatever this magic was, I'm not gonna say it's light magic. It could be perverted magic of any type, for that matter. But because dark magic can do anything, from what we can tell. But it's possible that maybe that magic was something else, and then it lost its occultum. And for whatever reason, the occultum, the disappearance of the occultum turned it into something else. It is possible. Though, I mean, granted, from basically what I understand about occultums, though, in this universe, that they're how you channel your magic. So if it disappeared, that means dark magic shouldn't even exist. So I don't know. So the world never did say that's how the occultums work, but I definitely know that apparently from the way this works, the magic is drawn from there, and it reacts to the people using it. But who knows? I mean, that's just a theory. It's not the most original. Who knows what they're gonna do? It's probably gonna be like the dark magic is evil. We don't need to be using it, and we're gonna introduce a whole different type of magic to replace it. That's probably what they're gonna do. They've already done the whole "this isn't really how it's supposed to be done" type of thing. They could easily just replace it. How they get to that point, we won't really ever know. Callum might be the boat. Callum might be the boat that we use, but
Callum would absolutely sacrifice part of himself, though, to save his friends. And that seems to be partially what he's doing right there, is giving up a little bit of himself,
Yeah, I guess we can actually move on to that episode real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna conjoin the ending of episodes, like the rest of the fight, whatever, with Finnegan, and move on to episode 8, so that way we can talk about that. Essentially, they get caught by Finnegan because the boat's a hermit crab, and you can't beat the sea with legs, apparently. I mean, you can beat the sea with legs, apparently. He got around and he got kidnapped, and essentially that's the way the episode ends. Finnegan has everybody tied up, and he takes a special interest in Callum, and we find out later on why.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you want to say something.
No, I was just recapping a little bit. We're good.
Okay, so the next episode is Finnegan's Wake. Actually, really quick on that title now. That makes it sound like his death or his funeral, but I guess wake could also mean water.
Finnegan's Wake?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
It could mean his funeral, but actually it's actually talking about, I guess, water. But that's kind of clever wording, actually.
Yeah, it's actually a really good pun.
But
because it kind of means both, because Finnegan dies in the episode.
You mentioned Dark Eyed Sailor's song foreshadowing episode?
Yeah. The Dark Eyed Sailor is not Finnegan, it's Callum.
I'm sorry, I think I'm missing there's a disconnect with me. What?
The Dark Eyed Sailor is not Finnegan, it's Callum.
You talking about the song they were singing when they were washing the boat?
Oh. Yeah. The Dark Eyed Sailor in the episode is not Finnegan, even though he has the darker eyes. It's easy to think that at first, but it's really Callum, which is why this is the second intro in which Aravos picks up a Callum statue. because the two episodes where Erebos picks up a Callum statue so far are the ones where Callum used dark magic. The dark-eyed sailor would be when Callum casted the dark magic and his eyes turned black, like they always do when you cast dark magic.
I guess on that topic of like Callum and dark magic, basically this episode where it first starts off with Finnegan telling him that like he has interest in him and he believes that he can use dark magic. And he's specifically looking for a spell that I guess is cast through dark magic. Because he has a grudge against a dragon. Huh?
The one that would kill the main sea dragon.
Yeah, I was actually about to get to. He's looking for a spell to kill the dragon god of the ocean, because he has a bone to pick with her because she killed his first ship. I mean, that's kind of okay. That's kind of cool. Like, okay, they gave him kind of like a sympathetic story, but at the same time, he kind of undercuts his own story with saying that he doesn't he despises her because she's the only
ancient arch dragon of the ocean. By the way, isn't that Domina Profundus?
I think it's Domina.
So it's funny because Callum just happened to know that dragon.
Well, I think Ezra's the only one who actually talks to her, doesn't he? Only Callum's anywhere nearby.
Callum wasn't nearby for that. But the party as a group has already met Domina, and they're like, oh yeah, I've met her. We had tea. She seemed kind of great, actually. I don't know why you had a problem with her.
Well, Ozzy he has a problem with her because apparently she killed the current ship's brother. I think that's the way he worded it. It sounded like those two were a pair. And he wants to get revenge and be able to roam the sea without restraints and control his destiny. I want to word it that way because it kind of comes back later.
Right.
But like he wants to control what he's doing. He wants complete freedom. And Callum is like, I've only done dark magic once. Well, actually, first he says he doesn't do dark magic, and then he backtracks on that and says I've used it once, but I only used it to free my friend, to free my friends. I turned chains into snakes. That catches Finnegan's like attention, and he's like, so you used it once, you never thought about it again. And the moment he says that, Callum has a really ashamed look on his face, almost like he thought about using it again, which I guess kind of speaks to, I guess, the taint that like dark magic seems.
The taint.
I knew he was gonna do that. I knew he was gonna do that. The stink that like dark magic seems to leave on you. I had to use it once. So it's like, he seems to be ashamed of it, and like Finnegan's like, you used it once, I just want you to use it again to help me solve my problem. Callum is like, I'm not gonna do this because like we as a group we can save we can save each other. I don't need to rely on dark magic. He uses other types of magic, like real magic. He seems very, I guess it's another thing too, Callum seems very dead set on only using using regular magic. He makes his stance right here, right now, that he only ever will use regular magic. He doesn't want to ever touch dark magic ever again, which kind of comes back a little bit later on, where he is forced to use dark magic to get out because Finnegan Prince threatens Rayla's life, chains him down in the basement after the deal's been cut off, and he's gonna lure a sea leviathan in with bait, switch bait out with Rayla and get her killed. Now, apparently, before all this happens, we see Callum like struggling to get off the thing, and we cut away from him, and all of a sudden he shows back up again. And I remember like being shocked when it happened. I was like, what the heck happened there?
It seemed too easy, but I was like, all right, so we got away off screen, pull the Batman or something.
Yeah, at first they make you think it's not important how he got free, and then later on they kind of pull you back, like, oh, wait a minute.
There's so much going on, too, that you barely have a chance to think about it properly.
But yeah, Callum uses dark magic again to get out of the chains to save Rayla. And we talked about this like last week, I think at some point, or even on the weekend, about the implications of like him using dark magic again. Um, I don't know exactly what he lost, but he was definitely holding on to his hand like he was ashamed of it or in pain. I'm not sure which one it was. It's probably more shame than pain, but
Shame. Yeah.
he doesn't
I
even.
think it collects all of you, not specific like a specific part of you.
And then he even like doesn't even let Rayla know what happened, and Rayla doesn't even question it. I guess Rayla doesn't know he was chained at the bottom of, in the basement of the ship. I guess maybe she wouldn't have any real reason to wonder how he got out or what happened.
There's a little irony to him holding his hand though after like everybody volunteered to like give up their hand.
And that is true. He kind of gave up
In a
his
way,
hand.
in a way that he gave up his hand. You know what I mean? Instead of everybody else.
It's possible that it did something to him. I mean, so far we know constant use of dark magic changes you somewhat. I mean,
See, this is also a reason that I think that the the wind magic took something out of him too, because like he's just spent this whole time sacrificing for his group. Like he sacrificed with the wind magic, he sacrificed by being tortured, he sacrificed by like casting dark magic. You just see him giving up more and more for the people. Coming right after the scene where Viren was going through his thing and talking about how he'd do anything for his friend, like his loved ones, no matter how terrible. You know what I mean? And then like you see Callum like doing the little things, taking the baby steps into that world too, but trying to sacrifice everything he can before he takes that step, but still ultimately taking it. You know,
yeah, I mean, it
he was
shows
alone
that
with his
like he would
thoughts
do
and had
anything
all
for
the
his
options
family.
in the
Huh? What?
world. When he was alone with his thoughts and had all the options in the world to try, he was still felt forced, you know what I mean, to use the dark magic, and not unjustifiably so. But this is the second time he's used it, you know what I mean, and it's a sin, you know, in a way that nothing else was.
But he also did it a second time just to get out of the chains.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
Yeah, I get that like the whole like it's it's definitely against his like, philosophy. He already made that very clear. But it's like it's interesting that both times that he needed to use dark magic, it was specifically to get out of to get out of like a sticky situation. Um, but I
and
almost
to save somebody.
yeah that too. And he's willing to do it for Rayla, which shows that he's still in love with her.
Yeah, we kind of know he's in love with her.
So I know I heard a smack and I got really concerned. Yeah,
I
that was
changed my. I shifted in my chair, dude.
oh okay. Sorry, I heard a loud
My
snap.
back was starting to hurt, man.
Jeez. Okay. First, like, he's in this conversation with Finnegan, and Finnegan does something. He just uses magic on the ocean, and this is like the closest that this show's ever gotten to Airbender territory. It's crazy.
When he blows Rayla out, that was a very controlled air spell that saves Rayla.
Well, no, not just that. Like the freezing of her blood that Finnegan did.
Yeah.
Like that was at the very core of it, blood bending.
No, it was water. It was water bending with like freezing her.
It was still touching the blood. I mean, he was still like freezing her blood. To me, it's like because bloodbending is just a subsection of waterbending. It's just like, but whatever it is, it got really close to airbender, which is kind of funny considering the people of the show. But it's clear they're not afraid to make references to that, even in the smallest way possible.
I mean, they were making non-stop references to stuff like that in the first series. Remember? Even like Boomerang got like a little cameo.
That's true. I guess it's like I guess it's
They
usually
kind of
fair.
felt bad about him after a while.
I don't know. I find it kind of cool that at least they got close to the bloodbending thing a little bit and waterbending and all that. I mean, all that jazz. But I mean, basically, he uses a little bit of his like ocean magic, showing that he's capable of using magic, and pretty much freezes Rayla, makes it impossible for her to move. Basically, after that, he ends up freezing Callum's blood, and Callum manages to reverse it, shocking him in the process. And I'm like, look, there it goes. He's learned how to tap into the ocean arcana, and pretty much says like pretty much, I guess gives a lesson about like basically to use that magic you need to you need to give into the going with the flow type of situation. Like, you can't fight against the tide. all the puns in this
Mhm.
world. But I guess in a really weird way, you can't fight the wake. I guess Finnegan had an awakening.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. But
Slow clap for you.
but basically, Callan manages to tap into the ocean magic. Prince says, like, you already knew this, right? That's why you're trying to fight against the tide and whatnot. And first, this all ends with the little with the big guy, the tree dude, the Groot guy, his servant that he's been insulting this since he's been introduced to the show. Um, Sending him into the water to be eaten by Leviathan. Because Soren helped him stand up for himself. And I thought that was such a cool moment for Soren that, you know, he didn't have to fight somebody, he just needed to appeal to their um like gentler side in a way. Again, he kind of did that with the dragon earlier. So it's kind of cool that Soren's having these moments where he's able to win a situation just by talking.
Yeah.
Something that completely goes against his normal nature because he's always like working out.
Yeah, he pulled a real Ezra.
Yes, he did.
Like he really did. He did the thing that Ezra was too physically small to do, which was take a bunch of punches from Elmer.
Yeah, I mean, he was beating up on him, and we actually, it's kind of funny, cause like Finnegan had been calling this man Deadwood this entire time, and we actually get his name by the time, like, you know, Finnegan's off. His name is Elmer. I find that funny because
Elmer.
I find it
He
funny
says,
because Elmer is kind of like a glue company, and he's like wood glue.
"Oh my gosh."
I don't know that's what they're going for, but considering they like to do puns in this show, I would not be surprised.
I had originally thought of Elmo, and then I was like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense that they're trying to make him sound cute. And then my second thought was, there's a place down the road that Jesse and I go to a lot called Elmer's Diner, and now I was like, oh, this is like the head cook of the diner, just in real life.
I
But
mean,
no, he's just Elmer.
it could be. Who knows really
It's
what
the
that
perfect
reference is? I just thought it was kind of funny that he's like a wood creature and his name was Elmer.
couldn't possibly have given them a better name.
I mean, I like Deadwood if I'm being honest, but I mean, I understand that's probably insulting to him. So like, I
Yeah,
understand that he doesn't want it.
I wouldn't want to be named Redwood unless I was trying to be mean. But
Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, his name is Elmer, which is kind of funny. I guess they have a new friend on their side now. Uh,
yeah,
I
he
would
just joined.
think. I would hope. I mean, I hope that they're not on that ship and everybody is against them.
I think he's going to join Villas and be part of the crew with the harpy. And Villas, I would imagine, would be the place for him. The parrot sitting on his shoulder.
Yeah, it makes sense. I guess that ends that confrontation, and I guess we can end this podcast with the other confrontation
Yeah.
that
Can I throw
happens.
one thing out there that I thought was interesting?
Sure.
Before we do that, I think that Callum figuring out the Sea Arcana started with Tidebound Tina, because when he was given the Sea Arcana like item, he says, "What does it do? How do I use it?" And she basically tells him like, "Don't worry about it. Let it go." And being a character that always speaks kind of in riddles and lies and half truths and stuff like that, she almost gave him a straight answer when you think about it. Like he's like, "How do I use this?" And she's like, "Let it go." She doesn't say that specifically, but she never told him how to use it. She just gave it to him and then said, like, just go ahead, like, stop worrying about it. But if you think about it as a riddle, then she told him exactly how to use it.
No, I get it, and I mean I agree. I actually didn't
I
say
like
that.
that. I like that because as a viewer, we wouldn't get that riddle either. But like once you know, and you look back, you're like, I see what you did there.
Kind of gives her that Yoda appearance again, huh?
Yeah. No,
I'm
but I like
sorry.
that.
I had to. I had to. No, I get it, and I understand, and that's something I probably should have
I was
echoed.
still thinking that eating
I
food like
completely,
this.
I actually completely forgot about that. So I'm actually glad you brought that back up. Considering
I
that she
thought that
shows
was
up once and then we don't hear from her again. I suspect we'll hear from her again at some point. I'm just not sure when.
yeah. I just thought it was cool. Like it just added one more little like level of depth to her character that I really enjoyed.
I mean, apparently from the sounds of it, most people who use that magic already know. I mean, even the people who like Finnegan who try fighting it. It's like it's in their nature. I mean, Finnegan had been trying to control everything and make everything go his way, but somehow still is able to use ocean magic. So it's like he definitely understood the nature of the Arcanum. He just didn't like it. And it kind of makes you think. I wonder if the dragons have something to do with the Arcanums in every single element. I mean, who really knows? Especially with now the next conversation that actually happens in the midst of all this, is the situation from last episode with the Sunseed and Janai being kidnapped and Amaya coming back, finding out that her wife is, well, future wife because they're not married yet. Future wife has been kidnapped. She has a moment where I thought was kind of cool, was her like feeling the loss. Granted, unfortunately, because she is a mute character, she can't really vocalize, but we can definitely see it in her face and the way she carries herself when she comes back home to find out that she has been kidnapped. And she even picks up the sword with the flower on it that she first saw before she had left the village, which I thought was also kind of cool, showing that she still had that connection with her. And I think it's like I'm not sure how Maya gets the location of where Janai is, but I feel like somebody comes to her to explain what happened. That's probably what happened. Like I guess Kareem's wife tells her what happens, and then essentially she goes to meet Kareem in a full suit of armor that looks like the people from the Sun Elf tribe. Kareem, which I thought was kind of interesting, is that Kareem immediately thought, without a second thought his wife would show up there to greet him and hug him, only to realize that it was Amaya. The very thing that he was despising the entire time, showing up to fight him because he took her bride. I thought it was kind of cool that, like he realized it's too late, that he made a mistake. But in the midst of all that, he still kind of fought to try to get the Sunseed. Because he uses
I like how soundly Amaya defeats him. She really made short work of him, even almost faster than Janai did.
Well, the
I
thing
know
is,
she had the element of surprise on her side, but like when Janai fought him, like it didn't go quite that well. Amaya, like, I guess Amaya wasn't holding back either in the same way that her wife fiance would have. But
Kareem knew his sister, and he didn't know her. He only knew what he presumed to know about her, because he didn't like humans to begin with, and he made that quite clear.
But I think Janai, like, he knew Janai would have gone easy on him and really didn't want to fight or kill him, whereas Amaya's like, you're going down. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, I'm going to kill you in a second if it means I can save my loved one.
I guess another one of those, like, I will do anything to save the people that I care about situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's becoming a deep theme in this.
I actually want to point something out too. I guess before, this is just a thing I'm gonna throw out in the air because I suspect we'll get more answers to this soon. It's about Callum's lineage, and it's actually about, like, you thought it was kind of, you think it's kind of interesting that not only does Amaya willing to do whatever it takes to save her loved ones, have you noticed how similar Amaya and Callum look? Like, we never really, I don't think we ever saw his mother, did we? Like, is it possible that Maya and her sister are twins? Because, like, Callum and not that it really matters too much. I suspect we're gonna get more information about why he's able to use magic later on, and I have a suspicion that it has something to do with his mother. But I mean, it's a very loose suspicion. I'll say that much. I don't really 100%. I'm not gonna sit on this saying like this is the answer. But I thought about it kind of weirdly enough, because, like, they're very similar in a very weird ways. The only small differences between them is their gender, age, and their fighting capabilities. Callum wants to lean more on magic, while his aunt wants to lean more on physical fighting. But they seem to have the same idea of justice. Some of that they're very similar, and he like it. I think Amaya almost kind of in some way raised them raised them after his mother died. Um, like they seem to have like a really close relationship. Like, and I always thought it was kind of interesting when I really thought about it, that him and her do look kind of alike, at least in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the eyes, and it seems like, I don't know, like you bring up how some things just don't happen by coincidence, and I'm actually kind of curious, like maybe the mother has more to do with this than we think, and
Possibly.
it could also explain why she got killed. And
Yeah, it's explain why we've never heard anything about her either. Like, really, we hear so little about her, and it's like such a little impact on the storyline so far. And nothing here means nothing in this show. So, yeah, I agree with you that there could definitely be a lot more significance to her than we realize.
I would say that because, like, I mean, like they look so much alike, and I feel like almost in a really weird way, I feel like they may be trying to tell a story, but between them, because we don't really, again, we don't hear much about her, Callum's mother, and I suspect that
Mhm.
Amaya had to have been close with her. I think there's some stories regarding, like, Amaya and her were like really close, and I just like, it's possible that maybe they're twins, but we don't really know why. And if they are
Right.
twins, they could also do a story where maybe Amaya was the one supposed to have gotten killed, but unfortunately it was Callum's mother that got killed. There's a way they could do a story where something happened by accident. It's quite possible. They tried to almost kill Amaya a couple of times now, surprisingly, and never stuck. So I mean, it's probably one of those situations, like, maybe I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. That I thought about this earlier. But back on track. Uh, yeah, Maya deals with Kareem very easily. Basically, then this little confrontation in the form of a negotiation happens with the Blood Elf, the Queen, the Blood Elf, Kareem. Of course, Kareem saying that, like, if you want me to let go of your debt, I guess your promise debt or whatever they called it, you have to kill her. And then Janai is like really smart about like everything. Apparently, she knows a lot more about this debt than Kareem does, which I guess makes sense. She is the queen. But
Mhm.
Rich says, like, if you kill me,
And
you're
she
not going to be out of
listens,
your debt ever.
she listens to things like this, her heritage and the history of things, a lot more than the other one does anyway. He's very irreverent of the past and just wants to move forward. So it makes sense that she'd understand things of the past more completely than he does.
I guess that makes sense. I just thought it's kind of funny that she's like, if you want, you're not going to be let go. You're dead if you kill me. Here, I was like, jeez. And I mean, it seems like that's all that Lev wants, is just to be let go of the debt. Because like they seem to be in the shadows for the most part. They don't really do anything. But I'm guessing that's because of the debt. They don't do anything. Um, it's just kind of interesting. Like that's all she really cares about. And like after this entire, like, I guess, confrontation happens, Kareem obviously doesn't get what he wants. We don't even know where the sunseed is right now. Uh, he honestly thought that, I guess, his wife was going to show up with the sunseed after the message was received. That didn't happen. Uh, I guess that's the end of that confrontation, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. They get away. So they're still out there to create some other nuisance. But the Sunseed was protected. The Sunseed's stealing the Sunseed doesn't seem so possible anymore, so it could probably go back where it was without causing too much trouble because he's not going to be able to get it. At least not that way. And I imagine they're going to be much more vigilant about it in the future now. Um, Although they were pretty vigilant anyway. Like, as stealthy as Kim Dale was, like, it seemed like the elves were on top of it and like knew that she was coming anyway. Like, they all reported ghosts and things like that. They might not have caught her directly, but they were definitely aware something was up and like were guarding the palace by the time, and had a backup plan just in case they couldn't, in case the guards were overwhelmed by the time like she got there. So she really got nothing on him for how skilled and powerful she was. I mean, she put them in a compromised position, but I don't think even in the end, like, I don't think Amaya was ready to sacrifice the Sunseed for Janae. And I think even if Amaya had wanted to, she didn't know where the Sunseed was. I think she was there to do her best to try to save her. Because Amaya didn't know where the Sunseed was. It was the other one that did. And it was Miana that knew where the Sunseed was and wasn't giving it up and wasn't even on screen anymore. So I don't think Amaya like had any plan there except to make an attempt to save Janae. But Amaya couldn't have given up the Sunseed or done anything about it otherwise. And I don't think she would have wanted to, and I don't think that's what she came there to do. So at the end of the story, like, he wasn't going to get the Sunseed that way, no matter what he did, even if he killed both of them.
Yeah, actually, I want to bring something attention. As you were talking, I actually kind of went back in the episode to see if there's anything going on. I actually had a chance to look at the fight, and I don't remember this. I'm surprised you didn't bring it up, but and maybe it doesn't really matter that much. But with Kareem's magic casting, at first he actually cast a sigil as he's fighting Amaya, and that doesn't work. And in a panic, he ends up throwing like fireballs, just straight up fireballs, without even drawing a sigil. Not that really, not that it matters, but it's like that seems really weird.
Little break for the animators, I guess.
I guess it was kind of weird. He drew a sigil, which cool, by the way. I mean, I never got a chance to see that sigil for the fire house, but it's kind of cool we got a chance to see it. But then after it doesn't work on her, he panics and just shoots 2 fireballs, and that doesn't work on it either. Mm-hmm. But yeah, interesting. It might just be an animation thing they decided to, we're just gonna have them throw fireballs.
There's some really clever little shortcuts the animators make in this anyway. Like, just to give you a little bit of animation trivia, like the fact that they have 3 fingers saves a lot of money on animation than giving them 4 fingers, and half the characters have 3 fingers. 4 fingers instead of 5, I mean. If you ever watch an old Bugs Bunny cartoon, watch to see how many whiskers he has. If he has 4, it's a higher budget animation than if he has 3. Bugs Bunny has 3 to 4 whiskers depending on each side, depending on how high the budget was for the cartoon. So this stuff, like these little animation points, like really cost a lot of money and add up. And if they're trying to like give good quality animation, it's a really smart move to do things like give elves 1 fewer finger than like humans, and occasionally skip, you know what I mean, drawing a sigil or something like that when the time of the show, like the runtime of the show, would have been compromised, and the animators would have had to draw that whole sigil animation again.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just like sorry, as you were talking, I was listening. I was like going back and watching that scene again. And I just kept on seeing that. I wanted to see if there was anything I missed about the fireball, but nope, no, it just kind of popped up like a charging shot, and he just shot it. But I guess we could take that as just a weaker use of fire magic. Maybe every race has that kind of thing. I mean, it's possible that maybe not every spell needs a sigil. Maybe just the higher tier ones do. But speaking of animation, the fight was actually pretty good. I mean, they used a lot more like elemental affinities though this time around. Usually it's just a sword fight.
Yeah.
And then also like the last episode with this blood elf girl, like her blood magic in general was all like wavy lines and energy. So I'm pretty sure that was probably like a save money thing, because she didn't appear in it until like when she needed to. I guess it's probably, I mean, they made it look as cool as they could while trying to save on a budget. I guess I'll talk about this, I want to talk about designs. I did talk about like how I like the ocean elf. I guess I didn't talk too much about her design, the blood elf. Looking at her now, I was like, it's actually, she's kind of cool looking. Um, she got stitches on her boots from what I could tell earlier. She's wearing a lot of like looks to be like adornments, almost like jewelry on her hand where her claws are, with this
Mm.
red circular like disc here, which could also be blood. It's possible that maybe, well, it isn't moving, so I can't assume it is. It could be a blood or be for all I know, but this, you know, like it's, she's got red all over her, and she's got pink like highlights in her hair too. It really makes her look distinct. I guess is basically what I'm gonna say, based on every other character we've seen. Like I guess she's got a really unique look to her too. So far, like a lot of these characters they've introduced this season have really unique looks.
Yeah.
Probably where the
Do you know
budget went. Huh?
another interesting little animation point is that those two statues that they see as they go into the Sea of the Outcast or the Castaway. Are you familiar with the Gates of Argonath from Lord of the Rings or the Pillars of King?
No?
The two elves that are standing there as they sail into the Sea of the Castaway look very, very much like the Gates of Argonath from Lord of the Rings. I'll send you a picture of it in Discord. But it was immediately what I thought of when I saw that. I was like, oh, they're taking that from the Gates of Argonath.
Actually, since we can end up on we can end off on this. Does the
There you
one on
go.
its knees look a lot like Erebos?
Let me take a look. Can you give me a time signature for that?
Uh,
For the gates.
uh, the time left on here is 4 minutes 42.
Right,
I'm
let me
using
check.
Netflix, so I'm trying to get an actual timestamp on it, but I can't.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I wouldn't say those are not Erebos, for sure. They look something like the Star Touch elves. Did you see the Argonath though? The Gates of Argonath that like I just showed you? In
I guess they
Discord?
kind of look like him. I mean, one's on his knees, but I can see.
It's derivative. It felt derivative when I saw that. Don't forget that's just a movie's interpretation of the gates too. There's a lot of different interpretations of how they look and where they're standing and stuff like that. But I thought it was very interesting. I mean, sometimes they're portrayed as old men and stuff like that.
That's weird. Um,
But it felt very derivative to me of like that kind of idea.
actually has something I want to show you. This one a different show altogether. Now you showed me that. That's kind of interesting. I don't even know this could be a possibility, but it may be. You do copy image. I never even noticed this. I never even seen what Lord of the Rings. So I would have never even noticed this, but what does it look like to you?
The Gates of Argonath, yeah. Um,
That's from Naruto. That is where the
the
final
funny thing is,
fight of the series happens, by the way.
that's amazing.
This is where the final fight of the series in that show happens.
That's funny.
I remember as a kid this being just sticking with me because it was very it was very it was very specific. You know, in the world this show has been put into, Naruto, this is very specific. This is probably my favorite like set piece in the entirety of the show. But you showed me that, and I looked at the other thing, and I was like, that's why this was sticking with me. I saw this in another show I liked. Okay. I
That's
wonder.
funny.
I was kind of curious, but I mean, I know that American stuff, fan fiction, I mean, not fan fiction, but American fiction does make its way outside our lands and other places in the world like it. So, I mean, possibility the Lord of the Rings did the exact same thing. I don't hear a lot about the Japanese and if they like Lord of the Rings, so it's one of those things that I didn't pick up on.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, negates. Okay, that's interesting. Uh, that's kind of like I was trying to think of like, why is this sticking with me? Why is this like why have I seen this before and I've seen it in a show I watched earlier? Okay, but yeah, it just looked like Erebos on his knees to me, like in a fight with like another like, and it looked like whoever that person standing over that Star Touch elf looked like he. It was really weird to me, but he looked like he was related to Ezra just by the looks. If I just find it again, I'm trying to do. To find it again. No, 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 no. I can find it. I just want to get a better look at it. Oh, they now own that ship that Finnegan had before he was tossed into the water.
He called it a Villad's called it a new friend. Basically, he said, "No, we can be friends. I've never been the captain of a fish crab before, but I'm sure we can be friends or something like that."
Even pick up. I mean, we didn't really talk about it, but like, I mean, the harpy left them before all this happened. So like, she ended up flying back after the after everything kind of like died down. Here it is. I mean, it could easily just be a random Star Touch elf and a random human. Actually, now I'm looking at that. That is definitely not a human. That is an elf.
Oh yeah, they're both elves. Look at the ears.
Huh. Interesting.
It could be the two Star Touched elves.
Actually, I mean, I think about that. That looks like that could be the other elf.
We know of two Star
that you
Star
heard of,
elves.
and I say that it could be that because like it looks like there's boobs on this other statue.
Right.
Of course, that's the thing I notice. Oh dear. Okay, so something really important happened here with these two, and I'm almost willing to bet that the prison is like either in between these two or is inside that elf on his knees or her knees, whatever, their knees. Don't want to assume gender. These are also really, really well crafted mountains. I mean, there's cracks in them, so they've been here for a while, as you can tell. But you can tell these things have been here for a while, and somehow no one's noticed these things out here. It's actually impressive. But I guess with that, we're gonna end here. Next week will be the final episode of the series, and I guess we'll also recap what we liked and didn't like about the show. Well, season 5. And
we'll just take a moment and reflect. Lean back and close our eyes and think about the show and the friends we made along the way.
We can reflect, but I don't know if we'll talk about friends we made along the way. I don't know if we made any friends with this thing.
You haven't made any friends? I'm so sorry.
Okay, with that, guys, we're gonna see you next week.